I never imagined that helping my brother during his time of need would end up destroying our relationship. For years, Jake was the golden child, successful, charismatic, wealthy, while I built a quieter life in IT. When financial disaster struck his family, I immediately stepped up, emptying my savings to help them stay afloat. I thought blood was thicker than water. Then came that birthday party when Jake, drunk and bitter, looked me straight in the eyes and said those words I will never forget: "No place for losers who settle for mediocrity." That is why I was not invited to Christmas. Before I tell you how Jake went from excluding me to losing everything, let me know where you are watching from, and hit that like and subscribe button if you have ever had to cut off a toxic family member. Growing up in suburban Chicago, Jake and I were raised by parents who valued hard work, education, and family loyalty above all else. Our father worked as a high school physics teacher, while our mother ran a small bookstore in town. We were comfortable but never wealthy, something that never bothered me but seemed to light a fire under Jake from early on. Even as children, our differences were obvious. Jake was naturally charismatic, always the center of attention. By third grade, he was already class president. In high school, he captained the debate team and basketball team, simultaneously collecting trophies and accolades that our parents proudly displayed in the living room. Meanwhile, I was quieter, more introspective. While Jake was winning student elections, I was taking apart computers in our basement, teaching myself programming languages and building websites for local businesses. Tobias marches to his own drum, our mother would say, when relatives asked why I was not following in my brother's footsteps. It was her gentle way of defending my different path, though I sometimes caught the looks of concern she exchanged with our father. After graduation, Jake went to Northwestern on a partial scholarship majoring in business administration and finance. I opted for community college, eventually transferring to finish my computer science degree at a state university. By the time we were in our 20s, Jake had landed an impressive position at a Chicago investment firm, while I built a steady career in IT security. Different routes to success, our father would say, though it was clear which route impressed the extended family more at holiday gatherings. Jake married Alicia when they were both 26. She was a marketing executive who matched his ambition and polish. Within 5 years, they had two children, Emma and Lucas, and a sprawling house in one of Chicago's most prestigious suburbs. I remained single, bought a comfortable condo downtown, and focused on my career and hobbies: hiking, gaming, and volunteering at a local coding boot camp for underprivileged kids. Despite our different lifestyles, we maintained a solid relationship through our 20s and early 30s. Sunday dinners at our parents' house were sacred. Jake would arrive in whatever luxury car he was leasing that year. Alicia dressed impeccably, children scrubbed and polished. I would show up in my reliable Subaru, often bringing a new gadget to show my niece and nephew. But subtle shifts in our dynamic were happening. Jake began making small comments about my career choices. "You know, Tobias, with your skills, you could be making triple at a finance firm," he would say while sipping expensive scotch he had brought. Or, "The condo market is so limited. When are you going to buy a real house with a yard?" I usually shrugged these comments off. My life made me happy. I had freedom, interesting work, good friends, and enough money to fund my modest lifestyle and hobbies. But Jake seemed increasingly unable to understand any definition of success that did not include status symbols and wealth accumulation. When our mother was diagnosed with cancer, we temporarily set aside these tensions. For 18 months, Jake and I took turns driving her to treatments, covering medical bills, and supporting our father. After she passed, our father seemed to lose his will to live, following her just 8 months later. On his deathbed, he made me promise something. "Look out for your brother, Tobias. He seems strong, but he needs you more than you know." I agreed without hesitation, though it seemed absurd at the time. Jake was earning 7 figures, living in a mini mansion, and sending his kids to private school. What could he possibly need from me? 3 years later, I would find out. The global financial crisis hit Chicago's investment sector like a tsunami. Firms that had seemed unshakable suddenly announced massive layoffs. Jake's company was not immune. He survived the first 2 rounds of cuts, but the third claimed his senior position. He was offered a choice: leave with a modest severance package, or accept a significant demotion with a 40% pay cut. Pride made him choose the demotion. "It is temporary," he assured Alicia. "I will be back on top within a year." but the market continued to struggle. Meanwhile, Jake and Alicia had built a life that required his previous salary and bonuses to sustain. Their mortgage on the five-bedroom house was astronomical. Emma and Lucas attended an elite private academy, costing $30,000 per year each. Country club memberships, luxury car leases, lavish vacations, household staff. The expenses were endless. I first noticed something was wrong when Jake canceled the annual family trip to Florida that he usually organized and funded. Then came the strained explanations for why they could not host Thanksgiving, as they had for the past 5 years. During a rare visit to their home, I noticed the tension between Jake and Alicia, the whispered arguments that stopped when I entered a room. Still, Jake maintained appearances, talking confidently about upcoming investments and opportunities. It was nearly 10 months after his demotion when my phone rang at 2 in the morning. "Tobias, I need to talk to you." Jake's voice was ragged, uncharacteristically vulnerable. We met at an all-night diner far from his neighborhood where he might be recognized. Over lukewarm coffee, my successful brother broke down and admitted the truth. They were one missed mortgage payment away from foreclosure proceedings. Everything happened so fast, he explained, eyes red-rimmed. I kept thinking the market would turn around, that I would get my position back. We cut where we could, but the kids. I do not want them to suffer because of my failure. I listened as he detailed the situation. They had already burned through their savings. Jake had taken a loan against his 401 Kelvins. Credit cards were maxed out. Alicia had returned to work, but her salary alone could not cover their obligations. "I hate to ask this," he said, finally staring into his coffee, "but I need help, just until I get back on my feet. A temporary loan." Without hesitation, I agreed. The next day, I transferred $25,000 to his account, nearly half of my emergency fund. "You are a lifesaver, Tobias," Jake said, voice cracking with relief. "I will pay you back with interest. I promise." That was just the beginning. Over the next 8 months, I transferred more money, eventually totaling $80,000, practically my entire savings. I postponed my planned condo renovation and canceled a hiking trip to the Pacific Northwest I had been looking forward to for years. I told myself it was temporary. Family helps family. Jake would do the same for me. But as weeks turned into months, I began noticing concerning patterns. Despite their supposed financial crisis, certain luxuries remained untouched. Alicia still got her hair done at an expensive salon. The children remained in private school. The country club membership was too important for networking to cancel. When I gently suggested financial planning strategies or potential lifestyle adjustments, Jake became defensive. "We have cut back tremendously," he snapped during one conversation. "You do not understand the pressures of maintaining our position. Appearances matter in my world." Despite these tensions, I found myself spending more time with Jake's family than ever before. Alicia began inviting me for dinner regularly, her previous coolness replaced with genuine warmth. Emma and Lucas, now 12 and 10, grew closer to their Uncle Toby, showing me their school projects and asking for help with computer problems. "You are so good with them," Alicia remarked one evening as we washed dishes together. "They look forward to your visits all week." These moments of connection made the financial strain worthwhile. But I could not help noticing how Jake's demeanor changed when he saw his children's enthusiasm for my visits. Something dark flickered in his eyes, a resentment that grew with each passing week as his family increasingly looked to me for support, both financial and emotional. Lucas's 11th birthday fell on a perfect Saturday in June. Despite their financial troubles, Jake and Alicia hosted the celebration at their still impressive home, though with fewer guests than previous years. I arrived early carrying a large wrapped gift, a gaming computer I had built myself using some components from my own system to keep costs down while ensuring it would handle all the games Lucas loved. When Lucas unwrapped it, his reaction was everything I had hoped for. His eyes widened and he launched himself at me with a hug that nearly knocked me over. "This is the coolest thing ever, Uncle Toby. Will you help me set it up? Can you show me how to upgrade it later?" Jake watched this exchange from across the room, a tumbler of whiskey already in his hand despite the early hour. The tightness around his mouth was unmistakable. The party proceeded with a forced cheer. Jake's remaining friends from the financial sector arrived with their immaculately dressed children bringing expensive gifts. I felt immediately out of place among these people who discussed vacation homes and private school admissions with practiced casualness. Throughout the afternoon, Jake drank steadily. By dinner, his face was flushed, his laughter too loud. I overheard fragments of an argument between him and Alicia in the kitchen. "We cannot keep doing this," she hissed. "The credit card for this party is already maxed out. What do you expect me to do?" Jake's voice rose. "Tell everyone we are broke. Have Lucas's birthday at the public park with grocery store cake. There is nothing wrong with adjusting our lifestyle to our current reality," Alicia responded. "Tobias has been helping us for months now. We need to be responsible with—" "Do not talk to me about Tobias." Jake cut her off, voice suddenly cold. "I will handle my brother. Just maintain our standards until things turn around." I moved away before they realized I was within earshot, troubled by what I had heard. As the evening wore on, Jake became increasingly agitated, especially when Lucas kept returning to show me features on his new computer rather than playing with the expensive drone one of Jake's colleagues had brought. After the last guest departed, Jake poured himself another drink and beckoned me to join him on the back patio. Alicia was upstairs helping Lucas set up his computer, and Emma was in her room texting friends. "That was quite a gift you gave, Lucas." Jake said, words slightly slurred. "He has been talking about wanting to learn programming," I replied. "I thought it would be a good start." Jake gave a short, humorless laugh. "Always the practical uncle. But do you think it sends the right message? That homemade is better than store-bought? That settling for less is okay?" I frowned, confused by his tone. "It is not settling. That computer is custom-built to be exactly what Lucas needs. See, that is where we disagree." Jake leaned forward, eyes hard. "In this family, we do not just get what we need. We get the best. We excel. We win." "Jake, it is just a computer. It is not just about the computer." His voice rose sharply. "It is about the message you send, the expectations you set." He gestured wildly at the expansive yard, the large house. "I built all this by refusing to accept limitations. This lifestyle is not for everyone, Tobias. No place for losers who settle for mediocrity." The words hit me like a physical blow. I stared at my brother, scarcely believing what I had heard. "Is that what you think I am? A loser?" Jake did not immediately backtrack. Instead, he doubled down. "Look, we both know you could have done more with your life. You are smart enough, but you never pushed yourself, always taking the safe route. And now you are helping me because deep down you are jealous of what I built." Alicia appeared at the patio door, horror on her face. "Jake, apologize to your brother right now." But Jake was too far gone in his bitter spiral. "Why should I apologize for speaking the truth? Tobias comes over here playing favorite uncle, making me look bad in front of my own kids. Acting so superior with his financial advice when he lives in a shoebox downtown and drives a car from last decade." "That is enough," Alicia said, firmly stepping between us. "No, let him finish," I said quietly, a strange calm settling over me. "I want to hear what my brother really thinks about me and my support." Jake's expression was ugly now. "Your support is appreciated, but do not expect it to buy you a permanent place in our real life once things turn around. This is temporary. When I am back on top, we go back to our normal lives." "Normal lives," I repeated. "You mean where we see each other at holidays and you condescend to me about my career choices? Family is more than status symbols, Jake," I continued when he did not respond. "It is about being there for each other, through good times and bad." Jake snorted dismissively. "That is the kind of thing people say to cope with failure, to make themselves feel better about not achieving more." I stood up slowly. The clarity of the moment was almost painful, seeing for the first time the contempt my brother had been hiding behind brotherly affection all these years. "I think I should go," I said. Alicia reached for my arm. "Please do not. He is drunk. He does not mean it." But the look in Jake's eyes told me he meant every word. I gently disengaged from Alicia's grip and walked through the house. Lucas called down from upstairs, asking if I could help him install a game. "Not tonight, buddy," I called back, my voice impressively steady. "Next time, okay?" The drive home was a blur. My mind kept replaying Jake's words. No place for losers. After everything I had sacrificed to help him. After emptying my savings, canceling my own plans, being there for his family when he was too stressed or busy, for 3 days I waited for an apology. None came. Instead, on the fourth day, I received a text, "Need to cover next month's mortgage payment. Can you transfer by Friday?" No acknowledgement of our argument. No recognition of the cruelty of his words. Just another demand. Something snapped inside me. After a sleepless night of soul-searching, I made my decision. The next morning, I called Jake directly instead of texting back. "I cannot send any more money," I said when he answered. There was a pause. "Then what do you mean? You cannot—" "It is just until things turn around. You know I am good for it. This is not about the money, Jake. It is about respect, about family, about how you see me and talk to me." "Is this about what I said at the party?" He sounded incredulous. "I was drunk, Tobias. People say things. Being drunk does not make you say things you do not mean. It just removes the filter. So you are punishing me for one comment, putting my family at risk over hurt feelings." "No," I replied calmly. "I am establishing a boundary. I cannot continue to support someone who fundamentally disrespects me." Jake's voice turned cold. "What about your promise to Dad? To look out for me?" The low blow did not surprise me. I have honored that promise for 8 months and $80,000. But Dad would never have wanted me to be your doormat. "You will regret this," Jake said finally. "When we lose the house, when the kids have to change schools, that will be on you." "No, Jake, that will be on you. You made choices that led to this situation long before I got involved. I have just been delaying the inevitable." I hung up before he could respond, my hand shaking but my resolve firm. 2 months passed, without any contact from Jake. Alicia texted occasionally apologetic messages, explaining that Jake's pride was wounded, that he would come around eventually. I responded politely but maintained my distance. As November turned to December, thoughts turned to the holiday season. For the past several years since our parents' passing, we had established a tradition of Christmas at Jake and Alicia's house. Despite our lack of communication, I reached out to ask about plans. The response came not from Alicia, but from Jake, a formal text that felt like it had been drafted by a lawyer. "This year, Christmas will be immediate family only. Wishing you happy holidays." The exclusion stung more than I expected. I was family, the only family Jake had left besides Alicia and the kids. For the first time since our parents died, I would be spending Christmas alone. Colleagues at work, hearing of my situation, invited me to their gatherings. I appreciated their kindness but declined. The wound was still too raw to put on a festive face among strangers. 3 days before Christmas, an unexpected knock came at my door. I opened it to find Alicia standing there with Emma and Lucas holding small wrapped packages. "We cannot stay long," Alicia said quickly. "Jake thinks we are shopping." Lucas threw his arms around my waist. "I miss you, Uncle Toby. Why are not you coming for Christmas?" "Your dad needs some space right now," I explained gently, ushering them inside. While the kids explored my condo, Alicia spoke in hushed tones. "Things are worse, Tobias. They repossessed his second car last week. The bank is making noise about the house. I am sorry to hear that," I said sincerely. "He will not admit it, but he needs help. Real help, not just financial." "What do you mean?" Alicia glanced toward the children to ensure they were out of earshot. "The stress is changing him. He is drinking more, staying out late. I think he might be gambling, trying to make back the money quickly." My stomach dropped. Our father had struggled with gambling in his younger years, a fact we rarely discussed as a family. "Emma asked me yesterday why you are not coming to Christmas," Alicia continued. "I told her it was complicated. She said, 'Is it because Daddy is mean to Uncle Toby now?' Children notice everything." I nodded, throat tight with emotion. "I wanted you to know I disagreed with excluding you," she finished. "It is not right." After they left, I sat looking at the small gifts they had brought. A handmade card from Emma, a keychain Lucas had made in school, and a framed photo of the kids from Alicia. Family I was now cut off from because of Jake's pride. On Christmas Day, I volunteered at a community dinner for people with nowhere else to go. The work kept me busy. The gratitude of those we served a balm to my bruised heart. I returned home exhausted but at peace with my decisions. My phone showed 7 missed calls from Jake all after 10 p.m. No messages. The next morning, December 26th, another knock came at my door. This time it was Jake himself, unshaven, wearing wrinkled clothes that looked slept in. "Can I come in?" he asked, voice hoarse. I stepped aside silently. Jake stood awkwardly in my living room, looking around as if seeing it for the first time. Perhaps he was. In all our adult years, he had rarely visited my home, always insisting we meet at his house or restaurants of his choosing. "The bank is foreclosing," he said without preamble. 30 days' notice. "The private school is demanding this semester's tuition immediately, or the kids cannot return after break." I waited, not offering immediate sympathy or solutions. "Alicia knows about the gambling now," he continued, sinking onto my couch. I thought I could win enough to fix everything. Instead, he trailed off, running a hand over his face. "She is threatening to leave if I do not get help. Says she and the kids might move in with her parents." I am sorry to hear that. I said the same words I had offered Alicia days earlier, but now with more complex emotions behind them. Jake looked up, his eyes red-rimmed and haunted. "I know sorry does not begin to cover what I said to you. What I have been like for years, if I am honest." The "no place for losers" comment was unforgivable. It was the first time he had directly referenced that night. All this time, he continued, I thought I was the successful one, the winner. But look at me now. He gestured to himself, then around at my modest but comfortable home. "You have a stable job, no debt, friends who actually care about you." All my so-called friends disappeared the minute I could not pick up the dinner tab. I sat down across from him. "What do you want from me, Jake?" "Not money," he said quickly. "I am not here for that. I would not blame you if you never gave me another dollar." He took a deep breath. "I need advice on how to rebuild, how to live within actual means, how to stop chasing status and start focusing on what matters." The admission clearly cost him. Jake had spent his entire adult life positioning himself as the expert, the successful one with all the answers. "That kind of change requires more than advice," I said carefully. "It requires commitment. Therapy for the gambling, complete financial transparency, making real amends." Jake nodded, eyes downcast. "I know. I am willing to do whatever it takes. For the kids. For Alicia." He paused. "For myself?" "Where are you staying right now?" I asked, noticing for the first time the small duffel bag he had dropped by the door. "Hotel last night. Cannot afford another night." I considered him for a long moment, weighing decades of complicated emotions against the broken man sitting before me. "The spare room is yours. Temporarily," I said finally, "while you find your feet. But there are conditions." The relief on Jake's face was palpable. "Anything. First, you get professional help for the gambling. Second, complete financial transparency with me and Alicia. Third, you work any honest job you can get, even if it feels beneath your previous position." Jake flinched slightly at the last condition, but nodded. "And Jake, this is not me saving you. This is me giving you a chance to save yourself." For the first time in our adult lives, my older brother looked at me, not with condescension or envy disguised as affection, but with genuine respect. "Thank you, Tobias. I do not deserve this second chance." "No," I agreed. "But family is about giving chances we do not deserve." 6 months have passed since that December morning. Jake now lives in a small one-bedroom apartment, working as an assistant manager at a financial services firm. Several steps down from his previous position, but honest work that utilizes his skills. Alicia and the kids moved in with her parents temporarily, but now have a modest townhouse. The children transferred to public school, where both are thriving despite Jake's initial fears. Our relationship has changed fundamentally. We meet weekly for coffee, where Jake updates me on his therapy progress and financial situation with complete transparency. The gambling addiction is being addressed one day at a time, with occasional setbacks but consistent effort. Family therapy sessions have revealed the roots of Jake's status obsession, insecurities that formed in childhood, a desperate need to prove himself through external markers of success. Understanding these patterns has not excused his behavior, but has helped us all process it with greater compassion. Emma and Lucas spend alternate weekends with their father. Instead of expensive outings, they now enjoy simple pleasures. Hiking trails I have enjoyed for years. Community events. game nights, at Jake's apartment. To my surprise, they seem happier with this version of their father who is fully present rather than constantly distracted by work and status anxiety. Last weekend, we had a small family gathering at my condo, the first time we have all been together since Lucas's birthday nearly a year ago. I prepared a simple meal, nothing fancy. The conversation flowed naturally, punctuated by genuine laughter. As they were leaving, Jake handed me a wrapped package. Inside was a framed photograph of our parents that had once hung in their house, one I had always admired. Attached was a handwritten note to my brother who showed me what real success looks like. Thank you for not giving up on our family. Looking back, I realized that my father's deathbed request for me to look after Jake was fulfilled, just not in the way either of us could have imagined. Sometimes supporting someone means refusing to enable their self-destruction. Sometimes the strongest act of love is establishing boundaries. Jake still has a long road ahead. Financial recovery will take years. Rebuilding trust with Alicia and the children is ongoing work. The gambling addiction requires constant vigilance. But for the first time in our adult lives, we are relating to each other as equals, two brothers with different strengths, both valuable in their own way. We are planning a family Christmas this year. Not in a mansion with expensive presents, but in my condo with homemade gifts and focus on being together. Jake has already asked if he can bring the tree. A real one, not the designer artificial one he used to have professionally decorated. This experience has changed me too. I am more confident in my choices, more willing to stand firm in my values. I have learned that my quieter definition of success, stability, integrity, genuine connections, has its own profound worth. The greatest lesson from this painful chapter: true winners are not those with the biggest houses or most impressive titles. They are those with the courage to face their failures, the humility to begin again, and the wisdom to recognize that meaningful human connection outvalues any material possession. Have you ever had to establish difficult boundaries with family members who took you for granted? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that standing up for yourself does not mean giving up on family. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, sometimes the most loving thing we can do for others is to stop enabling behaviors that harm them in the long run.